Today I fricked up. Edora125 says. Today I fricked up be watching a cruise ship video around stepkids. I have two tween stepkids and they normally don't pay any attention to anything I watch. I even tried showing them a ship tour video of the cruise we're taking later this year and they had absolutely no interest. Yesterday I started watching a ship tour video of a brand new ship that recently debuted. I was planning to book a cruise on it next year for my husband and I. We didn't have much of a honeymoon because of COVID and figured this would be a nice treat for us. It's an expensive ship to cruise on, so we would get a lower end room and a drink package. I put the video on while the kids were busy with their electronics to see if the ship is a good option for us. Within about 5 minutes of the video, the kids put their phones down. They are enamored with this ship as well and actually paying attention to the video. I'm internally thinking oh shit as I see their expressions. I asked them at dinner, how mad would they be if we went without them? To put it mildly, they would be very upset. We weren't planning on taking them. It becomes almost twice the price, and we can't fully relax. All 4 of us would be in one room. I wouldn't be able to afford the drink package, because we would have to get them the non-alcoholic one as well. We couldn't do the chef's table dinner. We couldn't do the private island club, because they would be bored, and it would be too expensive for 4 of us. I love the kids, but getting them to do anything is a battle, and makes planning anything difficult. When we try to get them to do something, it's always I don't know, or just straight no. The oldest told us I don't want to do any excursions ever at all. We won't be able to just wander the ship on our own doing what we want, when we want, because we have to be with them. They are still too young to let run around on their own. Teen and kid clubs only last so long. We couldn't stay up late looking at the night sky having a cocktail because they would want to be in bed and would get anxious if left alone in the room. I would have to share my husband's time and he would be stressed trying to have dedicated time with all of us. We don't like to drink in front of the kids, my husband especially, so we can't have casual cocktails just because. Now we are in a position where they will be pissed if we go without them, but we won't fully enjoy it if they do. Too long, didn't read, showed the kids a trip my husband and I want to take, and now they will be mad if we go without. Sam Squish says. Back in my day, I'm only 31 lol, my parents wouldn't tell me shit and just be like grandmas for a week, so, I mean. If you don't give them the option, you never have a problem. Nitrous Oxide says. If you never give a child a lollipop how can you enjoy taking it away? Sam Squish says. /r/found Satan. Iamk says. Your real foo was asking them about it, making it seem like they would be invited. If you made it seem like there was no chance in hell they'd get to go, they wouldn't be so upset. Edora125 says. I agree it was a bad call. I shouldn't have said anything. We were initially thinking of taking them if we went on that ship, but the cost just wouldn't work. They knew we were going on one, but we were leaning towards either an adult-only cruise line or resort. I thought about it and realized the kids will get the cruise we go on later this year, the mountains, and Grand Cayman with their mom this year. I didn't feel as bad anymore. Threadkiller05851 says. BTW spend the extra money and get an outside cabin with a balcony. It's so worth it, unless you like hanging out with crowds the entire time. Apex Dex says. My parents had no problem taking off on vacation and saying I know you really wanted to go, but you and your sister fight and give us a hard time. We want to go, have fun adult time and need a break from you two and your constant fighting and giving us a hard time out in public. Change your attitude and maybe next year you can come along. Dragonfeet1 says. My sister and I never really fought, and our parents would stow us with grandma and grandpa for a week or so every once in a while, to have a nice trip. They did, whatever. They did, and my sister and I were living the grand kid life, eating sugary cereals, and getting loved on by Gram Gram. Perfect. More beans Mratagat says. Grilled sugar on toast. Grandparents are amazing. Sapphire Sigma says. I asked them at dinner, how mad would they be if we went without them? To put it mildly, they would be very very upset. Why the F would you ask that? You're a parent. Act like it. You tell them, no you're not going on this trip because it's a honeymoon for your dad and me. It's simple. They'll be pissed. It's what kids with raging hormones do. Don't lead them on, tell them straight up, this is not a trip for you. ALH says. Yeah, that part was the true today I fricked up. Thakal says. When I was a kid my mom would say, this trip is for your dad and me, and that was the end of the conversation. Sure my feelings were hurt, but I got over it in about 10 minutes. Firm consistent parenting has much better outcomes. Today I fricked up. Franken Mouse says. Today I fricked up by not teaching my kid what a vanity is. Actually happened yesterday, but you get the idea. And yesterday evening my son, 19, comes to me and tells me he has a hangnail. And sure enough he does, one of those nasty fricks that just goes way down into the corner of where the finger and nail meet. No biggie, I say, we'll just pull it out. Go upstairs and grab the tweezers out of the top drawer in my vanity. Now, it hadn't occurred to me that I might not have taught him what a vanity is. It's not like it comes up in conversation much. And after a few minutes, he says from upstairs, never mind. And closes his door. That's not like him. So I go upstairs to see what's up. I figure they weren't there. Sometimes my wife moves them, and he got frustrated. But no, they're right where I said they were, in the top drawer of my vanity. Then I see it, the top drawer in my night table is slightly ajar, which it never is, more on that in a second. And then it occurred to me, he went looking in my night table, and not my bathroom vanity. And so, here's a foo, my wife and I are kind of kinky, and we keep some of our favorite toys in that drawer for quick access. Leather paddle, flogger, wooden spoon, a couple plugs, a busy little guy, some clamps, etc. And he saw all of it. It's true, what has been seen cannot be unseen. Lol. I tried to do a bit of damage control, but he wasn't interested in talking, and didn't have much to say on his way out the door today. And too long. Didn't read. I never taught my son the difference between a vanity and night table, and he inadvertently found our stash of sex toys while looking for some tweezers. Marsh says. Wouldn't it hurt like hell to just yank a hangnail out with tweezers? That would create a bigger sore than if you nipped it off with some cuticle nippers. Coconut Gator says. If you pull it the wrong way then yeah it'll hurt. If you pull the same way the hangnail is pointing it's usually pretty painless, at least in my experience. Call me Cookie says. Wooden spoon. And I consider myself fairly open-minded, but not sure what the utility of this would be. Is for hitting? Twadog's in a trench coat says. Spanking. I hope. Spirit Orca says. Clearly it's for mixing things up in the bedroom. Redbucket75 says. I really don't understand why nice looking nightstands with locks are hard to find. Just a little combination lock or something on the side where it's not immediately noticeable. Sealy4 says. Once the teen has seen the stash, the mental block will be stronger than any lock ever made by the hands of man. Alan 892 says. I'm 30 and this is the first time I've ever heard of a vanity in this context. I would have equally gone to your night table thinking that's what it meant. Alternative Sock 444 says. My biggest problem with this is that a 19-year-old not only doesn't know what a vanity is, but also needs dad's help with a hangnail. League says. Vanity. Vanity. I got nothing lol. I legit would have no idea where to look. To Kirk Alsonsa face says. Just curious, and I know it doesn't matter, but are you also a woman? You mention your wife, but also refer to your vanity, and I've never heard of a man having a vanity. Not that they can't, it's just not typical, because they are mostly used for applying makeup. Binga5 says. He's so vain, I bet he thinks the leather paddle, flogger, wooden spoon, a couple plugs, a busy little guy, and some clamps were for him. Filthico says. Such a non-issue. Humans frick. Today I fricked up. Cyrenix says. Today I fricked up be microwaving my soup for too long. I'm on a liquid diet, well, soft foods anyway, for a week due to a major tooth extraction/bone graft I had done last week. Basically, for the last few days I've been eating a lot of soup and things like mac and cheese that doesn't really require chewing, and doesn't have anything crunchy or hard. Fine while I was off work, but tonight I had to come back in for my normal overnights. As usual, I left my house later than I wanted to, and was running late on my way into work. I hadn't really considered how I was going to handle the issue of eating tonight. Normally I stop and get a burrito or a sandwich on my way into work, but these were both off the menu tonight due to the dental surgery, at least until the end of this week. It's mushy food only, and nothing spicy and nothing citrus, so I opted to get a couple of those microwavable bowls of soup at the convenience store instead. Figured, I can just nuke them at the office and I will be good for the night. A little bit of background about me, I'm fantastic in a laboratory, but I'm a nightmare in a kitchen. Cooking and operating things like a stove or a microwave have been met with very limited success in the past, and experience has taught me not to try these things by myself usually. Various fun stories about cooking mistakes that were so bad even the dog wouldn't eat them riddle my childhood, so suffice it to say as an adult, I have to be very careful about trying to feed myself. This has resulted in multiple, as in, more than one, calls to the fire department and emergency services in the past for various reasons, and at one point in time, an actual authority figure suggested to me that I should probably just stay away from the kitchen. So, I neglected these lessons tonight when I carefully read the instructions on the back of the microwavable soup container, which read microwave on high 11 over 2 minutes. No, there is no typo in that. This is exactly how I read it, spaced as such. I won't go so far as to specifically name the brand here, but if you want to see this for yourself, this is a red one that an eccentric mid-20th century artist probably would have liked if he ate chunky chicken noodle. Anyway, on the stove, it usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes for this stuff to heat up, so when I read 11 and a half minutes, I didn't really question it. I set the timer and hit start and walked away, confident that modern technology had my back. Turns out, it did not, and I returned some 12 minutes later to a steaming hot boiling mess all over the microwave and the not so terribly unpleasant aroma of chicken noodle soup filling the air of our little shared sundries microwave. I now realize in retrospect that it was supposed to read as 1.5 minutes, not 11. After procuring a pair of Kevlar and asbestos lined gloves to remove the nuclear fuel container that was now left irradiated in the microwave, I now face the unenviable task of figuring out how to clean this mess. It is fortunately mostly contained to the microwave itself, just a little drippage outside, but I have been reminded of a valuable lesson tonight, and next time I need to heat up some soup, I will go use a glass beaker with Bunsen burner and a heat pad like a normal human being. And too long. Didn't read, I microwaved a bowl of soup for 10 times, as long as I was supposed to due to a font/reading error, and I have probably ruined a microwave and caused my office to smell of chicken noodle soup for the rest of eternity. Kristen Tone says, if it were me, I'd microwave it for 5 minutes. Lem0n says, if it was me, I'll do 1 minute then see if it's hot enough. Then pop it back for another minute then test it again. Then rinse and repeat. Ha 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 ha. Leonard and Circle says, I told my kids always eat for 1 minute then check. You can always add more minutes, can't take them away. 11 minutes is way too long for food for one person. Even a frozen meal wouldn't be more than 5 or 6 minutes. There, now you are educated in microwave times. By the way, try mashed potato, custard, and milkshakes when you get sick of the current stuff. Just no straws until it's healed. Use a spoon or a cup. We also did lemonade popsicles, ice blocks, softened slightly in the microwave, and eaten out, if a cup with a spoon. Was like a slushie. Oh, and jelly and ice cream. Royal Visit 3419 says, thank God it wasn't fish chowder. Stay safe. Poorly printed directions have done me in a few times as well. 11/2 is just plain evil and this could happen to anyone. Almost anyone. More than a few people. Weekend 79 says, today I fricked up thinking this is about soap for way too long. Dopper Farai says, that was the longest story about microwaving soup damn. Castradalavaga 79 says, I'm just gonna say I have had and I frick up cooking instructions sometimes, but like you'd read it 3 or 4 times, if you need to. If I'm making something I take it out of the box, leave the box on the counter, put it in the microwave or the oven for however long it says, and then after I put it in there I read the box again, and I double checked I did it right, and then like 5 minutes later I come in and check on it and check it again. Because I know I mess this shit up. This summer I accidentally left my propane grill on at full blast while I went out for the day because I forgot all about it. I came back home and there was black smoke off of it and the house was warm. It was right underneath my carport, and I'm so lucky it didn't burn down my house. I'm not saying any of this to shame you. I'm saying it because you're not the only one that deals with this stuff, and the only thing that has worked for me is just checking anytime there's a thought check. Also, not watching TV and not listening to music while I'm doing that, because that's what causes me to lose my focus a lot of the time. I like to put in my AirPods on noise cancelling, it helps me think about what I'm doing better. Be careful because it's easy for people like us to make mistakes in the kitchen and that could have drastic consequences. Glad you're all good. At least it was just soup that got burnt lol. That's all for this video, thank you for watching, please subscribe.